I want to say to start with that I do only speak on behalf of the Flemish movement in Belgium, because we do have our brothers and sisters who work in the French-speaking part of Belgium at GBU. You can flick on the first two really quickly because I just used yeah, great. And this is something that the General Secretary of GBU said in a recent report that Foya sent out. He said the ground is very hard here in Belgium, but our God has always been in the business of saving people. And I love that because I hear these amazing reports and I thought, I don't want to do mine anymore. And just to add a prayer point for them, they're down to 2 members of staff. And they specifically asked us to pray for just more workers in the harvest field because they've gone down from 6 to 2 quite quickly. So please pray for our friends over in the French-speaking part of Belgium. So last year, I've just taken over from Olivier, who some of you will have known. He left to go full-time as a teacher. He feels called to that mission field, and we're really excited for him. And they've just created a new role within ICTUS, 8 hours a week, just to focus on being the one who sends people into the mission field. So I am not the missionary, but I am sending the students out into the mission field. And last year, you can stay back on that one, thanks. Last year, I was particularly encouraged by these 2 events happening. ICTUS Antwerp had their events week cancelled the week before it was due to start, before the pandemic happened. And so then they said, great, we're not going to do a mission week next year, we're going to do a mission month. So they put on this online month of events, maybe not quite every day, but a lot of them. We saw a student speak at one of the events at that, which was really good, and she was really honest about her experiences. And if you just want to flick on, they didn't stick to online. So this is them giving out free hamburgers in the main square in Antwerp, chatting with students. They also handed out soup. They did something, they stole text to Toasty, and they did pannenkoekenposten, literally pancake post. So they turned up at student dorms with pancakes and shared what they were talking about. And although that didn't translate into numbers in the talks necessarily, I saw something different, something creative happening with the students in Antwerp. And then our friends earlier were talking about a coffee shop. They collaborated with a coffee shop in Antwerp and offered cheap coffee, students love cheap coffee, to all students who came between a certain hour, and they just had a load of the ICTUS students just sat at tables and ready for people to come, go for a walk, do whatever. So that was really encouraging. This guy is called Samuel. He came to a mission week in Leuven in 2019, and I want to encourage you all who have said follow-up's not gone very well, that follow-up can still go well from mission weeks that happened years ago. I came back to be a temporary staff worker in Leuven in September 2020. Turns out Samuel had given his life to Jesus at the mission week in 2019, and no one had invited him to church. And though he'd continued to come to ICTUS, no one had quite clocked that he believed yet. And so we invited him to church, and if you want to flick on, he helped me pioneer a group called Fries Friday in the city of Leuven, which is the direction we're trying to go with evangelism, is that we start by having social groups in our cities the whole way through the year. So this started off with an invitation to any international student who wanted to join a Facebook page. Hey, we've got a bunch of witloaf, which is horrible, but it's very Flemish. We want to teach you how to make witloaf soup and follow along with us. And then they were all like, no, we want to meet in person. So you can see this very top one in the top left. We had to sit in groups of 4, so we are sat in groups of 4. We blessed everyone with some fries and mayo, because that's what you do in Belgium. And this just grew and grew every week. Restrictions changed every 5 minutes. Till this final one, we had 26 international students joining us for a barbecue. of which many of whom have come to church, and many of whom then came to Samuel's baptism when he got baptised at church in July. So this has just been a real blessing to reflect on it as well and be like, wait, stuff has been happening. I just we'd appreciate your prayers for the fact that all of our committees don't have anyone representing evangelism at the moment. And so sometimes it feels like a one-man show, and then I think, no, there is a student. There's a student in every group who wants to share their faith. They all want to, probably, they just think they're not equipped. So pray for me as I start this new role, but pray for our students, pray for that zeal and that encouragement that making friends with people and inviting them to stuff really makes a difference.